good afternoon, everyone. I, Dr. Archana Tiwari, HR head at V360.ai. On behalf of V360.ai, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to today's talk show on the topic that is not only timely but very essential in shaping the future of workplace. The topic is employee wellness programs, best practices, and impact on productivity. We are privileged to have the distinguished panel of speakers with us today who brings a wealth of experience and insights. Our first speaker is Mr. Kanan. Mr. Kanan is a general manager of HR at SITS AMC and a seasoned HR professional with over 20 plus years of experience across diverse industries, including IT services, engineering, procurement, construction management, and manufacturing. His expertise spans the full spectrum of HR, and his leadership has been instrumental in shaping the successful HR strategies in dynamic and challenging environment. So, welcome, Mr. Kanan. It's a pleasure to hosting you today.
Thank you, Archana. First of all, thank you for inviting me for this session. I'm pretty happy to share the ideas with Gokul and Abhijit as well, and pretty much happy to share my insights and thoughts on today's topic. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Mr. Jagtap. Mr. Abhijit Jagtap is the Chief Human Reinvention Officer at Wisdom Seat with over 14 years of experience championing human-centered HR practices. His mission is to cultivate workplaces that prioritize compassion, inclusivity, and the well-being, unlocking the true potential of every employee. Abhijit's expertise spans HR journalist role, learning and development, and counseling, enabling to craft strategies that enhance the engagement and mental health across the organization. Thanks, Abhijit. Thank you for joining today's session.
Thank you so much, Archana, for that warm introduction. And I would like to thank all the V360 team for inviting us and contributing our 2 cents to this valuable and critical topic.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker in the line is Mr. Gokul. Mr. Gokul is a head of strategy at Mindset Maxims, brings a wealth of experience in strategic planning and organizational growth. Before this role, he contributed significantly to the Amazon, honing his skills in strategy and execution. With a passion of innovative approaches, Gokul focuses on driving the business success while fostering a culture of employee empowerment. Thanks, Gokul, for joining today's session.
Thank you, Archana. Thank you. That is so kind of you. Thank you. And I'm really honored to be here. And thank you for this opportunity to, like have this discussion on employee wellness along with some of the brightest minds I have ever got to interact with. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. As I would request, as all of you bring a lot of wealth of experience with you. So I would like to start with Mr. Kanan. So Mr. Kanan, if you can talk more about your professional journey, so that we'll be able to learn more about you.
Sure, Archana. Again, thanks for the warm welcome. You've already given an introduction on me. See, I'm an engineering graduate and I've completed my MBA in HR. Started my career in a manufacturing unit. I was handling production there and also was supporting recruitments for their overseas manpower consulting. And those were the early days of ISO 9001 2000, and the company wanted to get ISO 9001 certified. So I was made the management representative there, and I, along with the team, was able to successfully get the company ISO 9001 certified then. From there, I moved to a different industry, a BPO industry, moved to a company called Alsec Technologies, joined as a customer support officer, and moved to HR over a period of time. So here I was predominantly handling the HR business partner functions. My overall experience, in fact, I have more experience on the business partnering function. Here I have worked a lot on process automation. Again, back in those days, not all organizations had a complete HRMS. So we used to automate every modules here and there, let it be leave or attendance. So I was working a lot on those process automation. And then I got an opportunity in the same company to move to a different location for some ramp up hiring, about BPO hiring. So I was working on those ramp up hiring. From there, I moved to another company called Method Electronics, a US-based company into auto component manufacturing. They had their R&D testing division in India. I was leading the HR and admin functions there, and then I joined Deberden Consultants, which is now called as Archetype Engineering. So I was there for a good 7.5 years in this company, and I was heading the HR and admin functions for India and Bangladesh. So I had a lot of learnings. In fact, I mean, a lot of change management aspects in this particular company, because I've seen a couple of acquisitions here, and in fact, I was involved in the complete integration process of the second acquisition here. And this is where the world saw the pandemic as well. So I was in this company there, and we had to undergo a lot of stress there, and our employees in particular, and we had to initiate quite a lot of wellness measures for the employees to overcome those. Currently, I'm working with Citus AMC. It is an US-based company and a leading independent solutions provider to real estate finance industry. So I'm the general manager HR, leading the function for the southern region. So this is my diversified industrial experience as of now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, next, I would request Mr. Abhijit if you can talk more about your professional journey, please.
Yeah, surely. You have already talked about the ethos of my profile, which is more of human centric and more compassion and inclusiveness. That is what I'm striving for. And this has been the centerpiece of my work into industry, because the kind of blaze that I have been gone through. Because I have been worked, when I started my career, I was working with Hyatt Mumbai. I am a hotel management graduate. So over there, it was like 16 to 17 hours of work on daily basis, and hotel management was pretty much glorified at that point of time, and it's still glorified. People really don't know what is the background. What goes in the kitchen is like a hell kitchen that goes around. So the mental wellness over there, because I've seen there like how the mental wellness works, it is zero, to be very honest. And as I progressed in my career through a lot of companies, when I worked with BPO with IBM Daksh, which was just introduced in Pune, and I was part of that particular pilot team. So over there also, the kind of experience that I'm sharing is all because what is culminated towards this particular profession that I'm right now into. So night shifts over there, there was back-to-back calls. We used to have 300, 400 calls into queues, and our quality teams used to shout on the floor like, come on, get along, pack it up. That is what the environment. It was a high pressure environment. And that point of time, we didn't have any kind of, not even a single whisper about what mental wellness is all about. It was just that we were slogging. We were just like dealing with our issues. And I think it was just one party that was thrown in a year as a part of a mental wellness, which was taken as a mental wellness. And that is how we were cultured of hustle culture, and then getting substance abuse at the end of the weekend to nullify our stress. So after working with IBM Daksh and ADP, I was into Maersk Line. I did my master's along that particular point of time, MBAs into HR, and the picture was totally different. Being in HR, it was pretty much kind of a bridge kind of an activity where you have to manage the management, you have to manage the employees, and in between, you know how the grind is. So that has also been one of the part where I felt like HR has already been a person who is a kind of a mediator, but without any fangs and without any tooth. So that we are really harmless. We didn't have that kind of authorities and agency in which we can implement those particular part. But fortunately enough, or unfortunately enough, as we are growing economy, and during my travel into Niamo, Maersk, and recently with a startup company, I was exposed to a lot much of varied environment of stress. So there were certain jobs which are high pressure jobs, and certain organizations that are high pressure organizations. So that was something that I've learned across the way, and I felt like there is no work in India wherein people are really aware and literate about what mental wellness is, because every tension is a trauma. That's how our spectrum is. Like we go from extreme. We have a bipolar understanding of everything that goes into stress. So I think raising the awareness and the literacy of the mental wellness was something that I felt was a calling, and I have also gone through the bliss. I have also been on the verge of burnout. because working for 16, 17 hours again to start up. I remember my hotel management days and I felt like nothing has changed. We are still on the same path that we have left, and I thought there has to be a progression in wherein cognitive workforce is working. We have people with different emotional intelligence and cognitive ability, but we are working literally what we call, and I'm really ashamed to call them as a sweatshop. So this is where I felt that there is a need to get management or the leadership aware about the fact that what mental wellness is, what are the different aspects, and what are the different areas that we are. If we are planning to be the next $5 trillion economy in coming years, I think mental wellness would be the most important aspect when we talk about productivity. So that was my journey. And today I'm here with Wisdom Seed as a provider who can be working along with psychologists and all the difference me, or what I can say, I would say the whistleblowers and the initiators to establish a mental well-being in our corporate culture.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And absolutely, very rightly said by you that leadership team has to understand that is the need of an hour. So it is everything is top down approach. If they agree to that
Very true.
point, then only we can do anything for that. That's absolutely
Very
correct.
true.
Thank you
Yes.
so much. So moving towards Mr. Gokul. Mr. Gokul, I would request if you can talk about your professional journey, how you thought about the idea and all. Now you're handling the strategy part in your company.
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you so much for having me here, and it is a great pleasure to be here. So, starting off, I did my college in psychology. So, I was basically a psychology student. So, like the concept of well being and mental health started for me right from my college days itself. And during my college I did a couple of internships along with some therapists, where like you get to analyze the case studies and listen to the clients, their concerns and the issues that they face. So most of the people, so my internship was in Bangalore, and most of the population was the IT population, and it was very visible that how everyone was like stressed about their work, their personal life, and everything. So for me, the awareness about mental health and the importance of it started very early, like right from my college's first year. It started off, and I always knew I wanted to do something for these people and for this. The country and the world, we say. So I always wanted to contribute as much as I could, and this is definitely a need of the hour that a lot of people are realizing very quickly. And yeah, so after my college in psychology, I was, like kind of blank. I just didn't know what to do, but I knew like something had to be done. So I was started looking out for opportunities outside the world, and like I was very fortunate enough to work with Amazon for a couple of years. I started as a senior associate in recruiting services. Previous to Amazon, I did work in some startups as a HR person. So I worked in Amazon as a senior associate in recruiting services, and then I was moved to employee benefits team. I saw how important employee benefit and how important mental health and employee well-being as a benefit that could benefit, which is a win-win for both the employees and also for the company as well. So that is a very good learning that I had there, and using that I wanted to build Mindset Maximus last year. And like specifically catering, counseling and well-being programs to organizations and also to individuals. So what we do different in Mindset Maximus is it's not the traditional employee assistance program kind of things, but we also wanted to provide something on scale, because if you see, like, we have very less number of trained professionals in our country, and the concern of depression and anxiety and any such other mental health concerns is keep on increasing. Like it's on an exponential curve, and the demand for psychologists is also increasing. So we wanted to build something that would like help people on scale, like not to deal with very serious issues like schizophrenia, OCD and all those things, but because those things will need complete a supervision of a trained professional of a clinician. But the initial things, like say for example, if I'm speaking in front of stage, like I would need some grounding techniques to calm my nerves. And like uh, I could, if it is a repeated concern, I could visit a counselor and get their advice. But like what can I do, like half an hour before, to calm my nerves? So we wanted to build something like an app kind of a thing that would like help
Okay.
people on calming their nerves. So that was the idea. The difference between Calm and Headspace and any such apps and us is because they focus primarily on meditation and inducing sleeps kind of things. But we focus on suggesting behavioral tactics and giving grounding techniques that are prescribed in CBT, DBT, and
Okay.
every such scientific evidences that are done researches for like many years right now. So we put the app format and help people with that. So yeah, that is the thing that is different about Mindset Maximus. And things are going good with us, and we are seeing progress, and we are helping a lot of people right now. Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful to know that.
Yeah.
So, to our audience, let's dive into today's session. Our panel expertise will thoroughly guide us in exploring how wellness initiative can transform organizational culture, boost productivity, and foster the happier and the healthier workplace. So, I would suggest that this event is not just a conversation, but an opportunity for all of us to learn, exchange the ideas, and reimagine wellness in your own organization. So let's dive into the session. So I would request, Mr. Kanan, actually we have received a lot of questions from the audience, so we have those questions. So first question is coming up for you.
Sure.
A lot of people wanted to understand that if you can share some of the the programs, initiatives you have implemented that actually helped improve the employees well-being in your organization. So if you can talk more about that.
Okay, sure. So when we talk about well-being, of course, it's not just the physical wellness programs that we are talking about. We need to take a holistic approach. Like we need to talk about the emotional wellness, the mental well-being, social well-being. I would like to go a few years back in this in this regards. A few years back, as Abhijit rightly said, when mental wellness was taking a backseat in many organizations, and many organizations even thought like, mental wellness would not go well with the employees, or it will not have a good effect on the employees' productivity or whatever it is. And those were even the times when few organizations thought like work from home is not at all not their cup of tea. It will not work for their kind of organization, where you need to have collaborative meetings, where you need to have quite a lot of papers spread across the round table, and you need to have people talking to them. But then the pandemic changed everything. I mean, it shook the world completely. And in fact, even those kind of organizations had to go for opt for work from home. So pandemic made the impossible make it possible. So that's when we had to venture into this mental wellness programs. I mean, not only our organization, many organizations started knowing the significance of these emotional or mental wellness, because when somebody is working from home for long hours, automatically they are just facing a monitor. They are not facing a person in front of them, which they were used to, especially immediately during the COVID period. So there were a lot of cases where the employees were stressed out. So what we did was like, we tied up with a few NGOs through our employee assistant programs, and we tied up with a few hospitals and arranged some counseling sessions, which would help the employee mental well-being. And that in fact was the need of the hour as well. And we got good feedback from the employees, like, and a good footfall as well. We wouldn't know what the issues are, as these are all anonymous cases, but we would know the number of people approaching for counseling sessions. We had a good footfall, and then we didn't stop with that. We started introducing yoga sessions, calorie sessions, all at free of cost, and everything was online, and everything could have we could do only online at that point of time. And we had good participation rate. We had these sessions every week, and we see the participation rates increasing from one week to another. That made us understand, or made the company understand as well, the importance of mental wellness programs. So not only that, we also introduced, see, when the COVID struck, everybody was worried about the hospitalization and the cost involved. So we immediately connected with our insurance partners to get COVID insurance policies for our employees, so that they can be at least mentally free. Even if they are off work because of hospitalization, or due to home quarantine, so those kind of aspects will be covered through these insurance policies. So these were some of the wellness activities related to the mental wellness that we conducted, especially during the COVID period, and how it went well with the organization and the employees.
Yeah, that's wonderful to learn about that because I mean, even a lot of studies also show says that if you are actually focusing on the mental wellness or the maybe the fitness program, stress management, you are taking care of their well-beings, then obviously you get
Yes,
a lot of returns of that. And so a lot of companies are
exactly.
doing that practice, and it was so good that at the time of COVID, people were, I mean, the mental situation was different. I mean, the state was different. People were suffering, and if the organization is supporting during the hard time, then obviously you can see the what kind of a level of dedication they will have for the longer time. So that's a win-win situation for both for the organization as well as for employees. So that's wonderful.
Yes.
Mr. Abhijit, I would like to know that what do you think that how that particular thing is connected, like employee mental health and workplace performance? Do you feel that is there any connection? And if there is a connection, then how that connection works and how people increase the productivity or the retention and loyalty towards the organizations?
Yeah, definitely. I think that is something that is an elephant sitting in the room. We can't deny the fact, and a lot of studies that are coming up, as Kanan has said, that there should not be one type of rest or well-being that has to be practiced. It is a holistic approach. So we can't have only yoga day. We have a social wellness. We have social mental wellness. We have cognitive mental wellness. We have relationship mental wellness. We have all those aspects. Physical mentals are there, but when we say emotional wellness is also one of the things where we see people are like, we are like 95% emotional beings, right? So we operate from emotions. We are someone who see the emotional value of every activity that is there. And when Kanan said that, yes, it has to be all of those particular holistic part, I was really thinking about how the future hold with this particular mental wellness aspect when AI is going to come in, because very few of them really talk about that. Because why I feel like all the human beings are drive or driven or the purpose that is there in our life. Okay, so now you can see that AI is taking away jobs of graphical engineering, people are from medical industries and all those things. And when we as a human identify ourselves with our jobs, and that is the purpose, and that is what makes us jump out of our bed, or even just pull out ourselves out of the bed, or we are running that particular rat race, what we call as significantly. But what I feel like that AI is going to take away the purpose of people, and that is very harmful. Mental wellness should be engulfing all those wellness aspects that we talked about, that there has to be a holistic one. Work is part of your life but not your entire life. That thing has to be normalized right now. We always see mental wellness as one part and physical wellness as the other part, but it has to brought up to one plane. We don't have to say that, okay, mental wellness, then I have to give a different kind of an treatment. No, it has to be given as as the physical wellness is concerned. So why we are making this particular thing as something that was not existed and now we have come to an acknowledgement? No, there has been an issue. It is only that we have neglected to the fact that the kind of productivity that we require from a developing country, wherein a lot of people are coming up with their understanding that yes, it has to be 70 hours of work, it has to be something, we have to compare our way of productivity with other countries who are like past World War II era, which was really different setup. Right now, we have evolved as human beings. We are so emotionally aware about ourselves. Definitely the Gen Z, if I'm just talking about that. And in next 2030, we would be having 30% of Gen Z working into our workforce. And these people, and if you talk about Gen Zs, they are very particular about mental wellness. They are very verbal. They know what work-life balance is there. So somewhere, I think when you talk about productivity, how it is tying up with that, because if you have a 30% of pull or a push that is going to be into workforce, we definitely have to see in that mental wellness would be the cornerstone of every policy that is there in the organization. It has to be governed in such a way, because if you're not neglecting that, we are going to have a crippled kind of a workforce, which is non-engaging, which are into absenteeism, presentism, what we call in. There will be a lot of risk of heart-related diseases because of anxiety and burnouts. That is the cost of neglecting mental wellness. We will talk about what is the illness, because if you don't eradicate that, the productivity won't be enhanced. We can't say that we have to enhance productivity. No, we have to reduce the illness. The productivity will take care of itself. We are like concentrating on only productivity. We have to concentrate on the illness that is there. And I think that is far more evident that we are in the age of AI, we are trying to compete with AI. And that is very a false thing, because I still remember one of the interview with Bill Gates or some, I'm not able to recall it, that there was one question that was asked, that once AI takes every job of human being, what would be that one competency or one thing that a human has to do in order to stay employable? So that was one question that was asked, and everybody was like, we have to compete with AI, we have to keep on learning, we have to do all those things. And every time AI is going to beat you fair and square in all those areas which you think that you're going to compete with AI, because that is not our competition. And that was a very beautiful answer, that what is one competency that a person can do is being more human. Okay, so that was one thing. Yeah, what is the job that we are left with? Being more human. The EI, the emotional intelligence, the EQ, is something that has to be enhanced, and that should not be something good to do thing for a organization. It is a necessity now. So if we are saying that the productivity is not tied up to emotional well-being, then we are making the biggest mistake. We are just axing our legs, nothing more than that. So that is my take on that.
Thank you so much. I mean, beautifully explained by you. And yes, AI is not having the emotional quotient with them. So yeah, being more human. Obviously, I mean, I've also seen in a lot of streams. If I take the example of maybe at the time of interview, a lot of AI tools are there who are taking the interview. But that human connect, that human touch is missing there. Sometimes with the non-verbal communication, you also understand that what the other person is saying, what the other person
Very true.
is hiding, actually not
Mm.
saying, but wanted to say by the body
Yeah.
language. So a lot of things happen. So that is the one thing which is actually missing in AI,
I
and
like to
only
add up
human
one
can
more
do
thing
that.
over here. Yeah, I
Yeah.
would like to add up one more thing. I just missed it out. AI is also coming up with one of its most gray area that is there in technology. When a data is going to flow in on which the AI is going to make all the logical outcome. The data that has been, because the data banks and big data management that would be there, the data construct, what we talk about, on which AI would be, giving out or spewing out the result, that is far more driven by one cultural and one racial human beings that are there in the world. And there is a very legitimate documentary that is called as Code Bias on Netflix, if you are able to watch that. And that has really striked this kind of an idea that there was one interview that was held by AI, and unintentionally, all the positive aspects were related to certain colored skinned people, and certain negative aspect were associated with some other color skin people. I won't be saying color skin. So because of that, the the filtration of job application was based on that parameters. So if you have one racial supremacy in certain data, AI is going to be that particular racial person. So we have to see in what is the ethics of that particular AI. That is also one more important thing that is coming up, because if USA is going to portray and include all the data, the US would be the hero for him, and other people would be all in uninclusive people. So that is what we are looking into. So that is a very beautiful documentary. All through the listener, I would be going ahead and asking them to, requesting them to watch that movie as something, as a topic of study. That would give you a lot of aspect of AI and how human being would be placed into the age of AI. When we say that is also still a kind of a mystery for us. But I think we have to embrace what is there currently that is going on, and how we are going to accommodate as a human being into that, because we have accommodated in past computers. Okay, I think 30 years back, very much everybody was afraid of computers. Oh my gosh, computers are going to take away a job. And a lot of people
Correct.
have taken VRS at that point of time. I still remember my
Yeah.
dad and mom were like thinking about, oh, should I take VRS because the computers are not there? They are like taking our job.
Yeah,
But once they
actually,
start learning about it, they were like very fascinated,
they
right?
enjoy.
But that was a
Yes,
different kind of a monster. AI is a different kind of a monster. So I think AI is still at the stage of a nuisance stage. It is just as a nascent state, I would say. And there will be a lot of aspect that will be coming in. And I think we have to be vigilant about how to integrate
definitely.
AI ethically. That is more important.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So Google, I am coming to you for the next question. So the thing is that sometimes people are not. I mean, in the organization, and maybe if you are calling them for individual counseling, individuals are not very comfortable in participating in the well-being activities. So if you can, suggest certain strategy to the organization, whereas if that, if employees are not feeling comfortable participating in the well-being activities without any pressure. So if you can suggest the strategy, what kind of a strategy we should adopt so that people should comfortably participate in the well-being program. They should not feel very uncomfortable there. You're on mute, Google. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I was on mute. Yeah, that is
That's
a
okay.
great one. We recently had this art therapy session at Sprittle Software in Chennai, like a couple of weeks ago. And this was the same concern that people had. First thing is letting people know that there is an employee well-being activity for the employees. So a lot of people, like in bigger organizations, what happens is that like a very small set of people who visit the company's official policies list will get to know about these benefits, but a large chunk of employees will be completely unaware of what are all the benefits that they will be getting apart from their compensation and some other medical insurances and other stuffs. All right, so the first part I would say would be like letting employee know about their benefits. It is completely their rights, and their it's a part of their compensation. And also, it is also the responsibility of the HR team to like let them know as well. So the second thing I would say is leaders taking part in it, like leaders leading with empathy, leaders taking the lead in like in such well-being activities. So why I mentioned about our recent art therapy session with Sprittle Software is the HR team had the same concern, like they wanted a lot of employees to participate as much as any HR team. They wanted very good engagement, and what we suggested was we also wanted the HR team also to participate with the art session. Like we wanted them to like take the pen, take the sketches, like you also participate as the one of the employee and draw as much as whatever you want. And they were like, no, on the back end we have to like do this, like we have to organize, like give us a hint, give us be on and off here, but completely participate on it and we'll completely take up the session. And surprisingly a lot of employees did come up with their much more participation and much more engagement at that point. Why I would say is because like they are seeing their leaders taking part in it, like they are seeing the HR is doing it, they are seeing the others are doing it, and they are seeing how fun they are having doing it, like fun on their own terms or fun of doing the engagement activity. surprisingly a lot of male employees who don't express themselves to verbal communications. Like men are generally not like they don't just open up with their words and how they are feeling and all those things. They really came up with a lot of artistic things, like they sketched a lot of things, that how they felt and expressed themselves, and came out of how they felt during the session, how they felt when they got the job, how they felt about specific life events that they went through and all those things. So I would suggest the first thing is, like making people aware about it, so that they know that there is something that is going on and that we are like good to participate. And the second thing is the leaders taking the initiative, leaders taking the lead on such activities, saying like not calling it off, saying that like, yeah, I have another call, you guys please join, you guys be engaged, and all those things. Like leaders taking that initiative is a crucial part. And I would say along with this, like not pressuring the employees to participate just for the sake of engagement rate, because human mind is like, a lot of time reverse psychology works in ways that we don't estimate it to work. We force them to participate and they'll be like, no, I am not interested, like I have other works to do, this that, they'll be giving you reasons. But when you don't force them, when you don't like give a compulsion to be participating, like see, like there is something going on, and we will encourage you to participate, and we'll make sure that you are having a good time participating in this. Like just giving that announcement and not forcing them to do it is something that we have observed and worked very well for us so far.
Correct. And I am just curious to know that in that sketching, activity, there was some theme, or you have given them, they can choose anything, whatever they feel like, and they can just draw it.
No, we wanted to keep it in a thematic thing. So what we planned
Okay.
was, initially there was an ice breaking session where like you had a initial set of some bingo cards where people have to go around, talk with everyone, like even if they have never talked with the person, like they'll have to talk with them and have to fill at least one person's name in each bingo cards and have to get it. And so after that, we had a specific emotional wheel kind of a sheet where like people had to like color what they are feeling like. And as the layer goes on, the emotion gets very specific. Like if you are happy, what is it, what exactly kind of happy you are, like are you curious, are you interesting, or like are you like just enthusiastic to be here, and all those things. Like that, by layer, the emotion gets much more verbal and much more detailed. By that way you will know what you're dealing with. And the main part of the event was, we give them a couple of A3 sheets, color pen sketches, color pencils, whatever they wanted, everything was provided. And we wanted them to sketch some of the important life events that like that would give them happy memories, sad memories, anger. Like every emotion is still emotion, like suppressed emotions will always come out in an uglier ways. So it's better not to suppress and process them in a very healthier manner. So art therapy is one such thing that where people who find it hard to express themselves in words find art to express themselves. Like you don't have to be like a Picasso to like draw things that would go millions in auctions. Like no, that's not the whole point. The whole point is where people can express themselves. Like, and we did have a lot of engagement. Like the social media manager who was taking out the videos and photos, end of the session he told us like, I really feel bad just taking videos, I should have participated, and all those things. So that's how
That's
fun
wonderful.
and
That's wonderful.
interactive it was. So basically the theme was how people express themselves, and making sure that everyone becomes bonded with their teams. Like we will never know what the
Ice
other
breaking
person is
kind of
going
a
through
thing.
in the team.
Correct.
So that would
Correct. So it
increase the
was very,
productivity. Like, yeah.
yeah, that's wonderful. Very interesting. Very interesting. Mr. Kanna, I'm going back. I'm coming back to you again. Now, I would like to understand because you have, I mean, 20 plus years of experience. So I would like to know that how to, sometimes HR leaders want to measure the success of the wellness program. So if you can suggest that how they can measure, because sometimes that is very important to know the outcome of the event, whether that was successful or not. And one more thing I would just wanted to know from you. I mean, if you can share the most rewarding feedback you might have received from an employee regarding these kind of programs.
Sure, Archana. In terms of measuring the success, that's actually a straightforward question. We can measure the success through productivity. That is one aspect. When you talk about organizations, any industry for that matter, they have their own metrics. They have their own goals set in terms of productivity or even the quality of work. They might call it as MBOs in one organization, OKRs in another, KRA, KPIs in another, but you will have your set parameters there. So we can just check the before and after. I mean, before you start a wellness session, how was their scores placed, and after the session, how are they placed? Is there an increase in the productivity score? Is there an increase or improvement in the quality of work? Because these are the aspects which would tell you, like, I mean, how well the programs that we have conducted has gone with them. And not only on this side, as Abhijit said, we need to concentrate on the emotional quotient part as well. Like, I mean, we can even check on the absenteeism. If the employees' absenteeism has reduced, if the number of sick leaves that they have taken has reduced, this is also another way of checking if the wellness program that you have done has taken the driver's seat. Because when you see reduced absenteeism at work, automatically it shows that the employees are engaged at work, which in turn impacts their productivity in a positive note. Also, what we do is, like how Gokul said on this art therapy, not similar to that, but we had in one of my previous organizations something called as happiness quotient survey. Okay, every day once an employee logs in, there is a pop-up in his window which has three smileys: are you happy today, sad, or neutral? And likewise, you have it at the end of the day when they log out. So we capture that through a tool and analyze if an employee is happy on that particular day. And this, we also started doing it after the wellness sessions, like a dipstick survey. I mean, after a week or a couple of weeks from the sessions that we did, we also threw a dipstick survey, which, I mean, of course, the employee is forced to complete that survey here. Because, I mean, without completing the survey, they will not be able to continue the work. So with that, we will be able to analyze what exactly is going through the employee's mindset, and if we are going in the right track in terms of the wellness programs that we are doing. And as I already told you, it needs to be a holistic approach, not just with the physical or mental wellness. It has to go to other aspects as well, as Abhijit clearly told during his conversation about the AI. And we only need to wait and see how well the emotional quotient gets added to it, because most of the time the human touch is missing with the AIs. And as you said, when we spoke about the hiring, I mean, AI doing the interviews, of course we can use the ATS tools for screening the profiles through key skills, etc. But when you talk to an employee, let it be a video call, even a face-to-face interview, that is when we get to know what exactly, I mean, if he would be aligned to our culture, so on and so forth. And on to your next question about the feedback. Yes, we have received quite a lot of feedback from the employees nowadays. I mean, the feedbacks are like instant. I mean, when you do a program, instantly you get feedback from the employees stating that, oh, this is a good job. And we have seen quite a lot of them coming and saying, okay, this particular wellness activity that you did helped me to understand that I have this particular problem, and they have gone for further investigations and got that rectified as well. Because many of us work those 8 hours, 10 hours, and work along the week and then weekends. Now the culture is like most of them go out, spend time in the malls, and we hardly get any time to check our health. When I was in my early 30s, so when people used to say, the doctors in particular whom I used to meet used to say, like, every year you need to get your master health check done. But even I myself couldn't get it done with all these busy schedule. When you do these kind of activities in your office, that helps you to understand where you stand, and that helps the employees to investigate further and get themselves rectified. But when you ask about the most rewarding feedback that you've got, again, I'll have to get back to the COVID period. I'm sorry, I'm going back to those pandemic days, because that is where we had quite a lot of employees that were burnt out due to stress, and we had to bring them out of it. So what we did was, after all these activities, we wanted to measure the NPS scores through our surveys. Every company will have their own surveys. We had the employee satisfaction survey and the employee value proposition surveys. So interestingly, what we did was, we asked them some probing questions to understand if they are reporting some lower stress, or if they are getting better sleep, and through which we gauged the net promoter scores for those surveys. And interestingly, we got beautiful increase in the net promoter score while they were working from home with all these wellness activities. That, in fact, was a rewarding feedback for us, because such a kind of an input can provide you with insightful information about how well your programs, the wellness programs that you're conducting, is viewed and taken by your employees, and it naturally has a positive impact on their productivity as well. So that I would call as a most rewarding feedback that we have got.
Thank you so much. Mr. Abhijit, you wanted to add something.
Yeah. I think Kanan has really wrapped it so beautifully. And I felt like one thing that I want to add up: when you have to measure any of the mental wellness effectivity of the program, is checking the behaviors. Because all the behaviors are tied up to your mental state. Like Kanan said, that absenteeism is really through a very realistic way of looking at, is my program really working in that particular direction or not? So behavioral part has to be attached. If you see that there has to be a time management session or a life skill session, as we say, as in part of an emotional intelligence, where we say stress management is equal to time management is equal to self management. So if I have taken any kind of self management, stress management class or a session, I would always have a 0 hour feedback that would be put in into the room, that we would be like, are these things relatable to what you are facing right now? Because trainer usually has a kind of a cookie cutter kind of a setup for whenever it comes to a training. He will just say, like, these are the Pareto's, these are the Eisenhower's time metrics and all those things. But the actual problem is procrastination. Okay, why the person is procrastinating more, no matter how much of tools that you have. Okay, no matter how much of insight that you have, if it has not been translated into behaviors, if the person who's let's say we had this particular activity, that if you are able to reduce your work, or you are efficient enough, if you are able to do whatever assigned work is there, let's say in 8 hours, and after time management, if you are able to do it in 5 hours, the 3 hours would be given to you as an off. So that was something as a perk for them. You have to get a full salary, but that 3 hours, whatever you have saved, you can slack, you can go home. So now what has happened, when we have put such a heavy kind of an applicative way of measuring certain things, but if you are doing it at 5 hours, but with the prescribed qualities and all those thing parameters, so then only the time management workshop has worked, and that 3 hours is going to make a space for a person to emotionally heal. Because as there are certain kind of emotional labors into lot many work roles that we are into. Like HR is one of those. HR has a lot of emotional labor in their profile. Managers have a lot of emotional labor. Customer care executive have a lot of emotional labor. Healthcare professional has an emotional labor. So if we are not able to give any kind of breathing space into their work part, the burnout is very much going to be the part. So even we were like checking on how much of insurance claim a person has applied, or as a team, as an organization, what is the insurance cost that we are incurring. So that's what I'm saying. The behavior and the entire pulse, as Kanan said, that the surveys, I think surveys are sometimes it are very eye wash kind of a thing. This is a checklist activity, but most of the HR, as you know, most of the effective feedback that you would get about a workshop is a chai tapri or a or a water counter. Okay, not
That's true.
even any survey can justify that, because what I felt like as an HR, you have to have that kind of approachability and that kind of trust that people can go and talk to you to that level. I think HR are the gatekeepers of all that mental wellness, that what kind of mental wellness initiative can work, what is working and what is not working. So in my previous podcast, when I was talking to one of my colleague, and I talked about that HR has to really question the status quo of the policies that are there. We have to see in which are the policies that are working and which are not working, which are really implemented or not implemented. We do have a static part, but there has to be one dynamic part which actually accommodate the environmental changes that are happening, the human changes and the dynamics of human that has been there. So there is a lot of work that is required, because we are coming from a traditional background. We have certain parameters that are set, but above than that, the rate of engagement is there. There is also how much of completion of tasks are there. So this is one of the behavior part is there. Program participation rate is something that you would also come up with an idea, like how much of program participation is there. People are like Gokul said, is the value being propagated to the employee? Are we really propagating the value of what would happen if you be mental wellness is, if you're part, what is the value that you would be getting? And as Gokul and Kanan said, that yes, the buy-in has to come from the management team. The top to bottom flow has to be there. It has to be propagated, and leadership has to show their vulnerability. They have to show that they were human. They were going through these challenges. Because of these practices, they have been successful in their roles. I think those kind of stories and those kind of narratives are to be propagated from HR towards the employees, where they would feel like, okay, if I talk about my mental illness, that's okay, that is fine, that is totally
Correct.
normalized. Yeah, so that is something that we have to check in.
I would also like to know, I mean, because we have received a lot of questions regarding the topic which I am going to ask from you. So sometime we, as an organization, we organize a lot of activities, employee wellness program and all. But what kind of a strategy organization should adopt that those programs should bring long-term benefits for employee, not just short-term results? Because sometimes
Right.
after the program, people are so energetic, so engaged that give very short-term results. So how to bring the long-term results, and do you also feel that the emotional intelligence and kind of a resilience training can help here?
As I told you earlier, this is a culture that you have to build, and culture is a kind of an persistent, patient, and a forward-seeing or accommodative kind of an environment that you want to create. It is nothing that can happen overnight, and there should be a kind of an inclusiveness of those particular policy into your culture. What would happen now? We If we have a band-aid kind of an approach, let's say there is a lot of stress level, there's a yoga day, let's have a meditation center. Yoga month, let's celebrate. Like, you are not making that part, you are making that as an event. Okay, so anything that is an event, it has a very short life. It is like a event that comes and goes. But if you have a routine and a behavior and an inception of those particular part into your policy, that would make a solid foundation. Okay, I think in Japan there is a kind of a tax or a penalty if you are weighing more than 100 kgs wherever you go. Means if you are going through planes and if you are more than 100 kg, you have to pay extra amount of the ticket that is there. So now those kind of implementation are there. So they are directly not saying that you have to eat healthy. You can eat whatever you want, but you have to pay certain kind of penalty for that. So now there are certain kind of pull and push approach that are supposed to be included. Now we as an HR, we have to get intelligent, because we have to understand that a behavior in terms of psychology is something that you repeatedly do and you find value in it. Okay, that is one more thing. Why you do that thing? Because you find a value, even if you know that particular thing. Because why we have to put a caution sign on tobacco packet when you know that there are cancers that are happening? Because we are not able to avoid ourselves, right? That's the main thing. So are there any kind of default mental patterns that we are developing? When I say why I'm looking into the psychological way, because no matter how much band-aid you put on it, it is going to not going to be effective and not going to be healed at the long run. That is one thing. And when you say a long run kind of an approach that is there, definitely, as I said, you culture has to be there. There has to be a proper infrastructure that has to be set in. Because one of the example that I can give to you right away is like we were trying to observe women employees after maternity break into our workforce as an HR. Okay, and it is a very humble and a very honorable kind of an activity. But the thing is, like, the infrastructure was not there. Why I would say, because emotionally that woman who would come to that workforce, the tempo is totally lost. She's outdated in terms of, because you can't expect her to perform at the level of the people who are currently working with her, with her colleagues. So there should be a pre-onboarding program for if you're putting it that in place. So what we are doing, we are doing a band-aid kind of an implication over here. We are saying that okay, it's a humble kind of a way of getting women back to workforce after their maternity break. But is the infrastructure in place? Are we having a coaching programs? Are we having a tempo, or we have a nesting period for them? So that is something. And the thing is, like, in that particular phase, are we putting crash in place? If we have, are we putting certain kind of infrastructure that would be there? Because I think Barclays is somewhere, they are like in tie with Jumpstart in Pune. Why I know this? Because one of my colleague worked there, and that was one of the initiative that they have taken. They have a daycare center within the office. So now, if you have a demographic of a lot of women in working with you, you have to consider those. Mental wellness, I think it's the stress and the anxiety we have to see in as an HR and as a company. Are we really being the part of the problem? Are we like, there are a lot of many things. Our policy itself are sometimes a pain area. The process, the diplomacy of assigning a leave, getting certain approvals, asking for a work life balance or flexibility. If we have a rigid policy, and then we are having one day event of having a yoga or having a meditation session, that is not going to do anything. So when I say a long-term way of looking at any mental wellness, we have to really scrutinize our policies. We have to see in that what is the what kind of propagation we are doing in terms of mental and physical stress at the other end. If you have this particular JD, what is the implication on the human who is doing that? So if I want to hire a person for a high stress job for a financial organization, let's say example of EY, what was missed out and what the blame game was, the parcel was going on. It was like employer was saying that it is the responsibility of the employee to take care of their mental wellness, and the employees was, "Nee, it has to be done by employer." And logically speaking, employer, why? Because 12 hours, 13 hours that employee is with you. You have to make sure that he is comfortable. We're looking at the AC is good. We are looking at the ergonomics are good. But are we looking at the psychological safety of the organization is there or not? The discrimination, the partiality, the workforce. So
Yeah,
all
that
those
is the
things.
thing. Yeah, yeah,
So
I
that is a
can
very
understand.
debatable one. I think we have to think in that
Yeah.
way. If you think in
Yes,
that
yes,
way, I think then it would be a long-term one rather than just having one short-term
definitely.
kind of goal to that.
Yeah. So, Mr. Kanal, you want to add something? So, in interest of time, yeah, please.
Sure, Archana, I won't take much of your time. I mean, I agree with what Abhijit told regarding this, because the wellness activity that we conduct shouldn't be a one-time activity. Okay, like how, I mean, if we are doing a yoga session for yoga month, it is not going to work. We need to have proper infra. It has to be a long-term sessions, and the most importantly, we need to understand what is required for our organization. Now, creating your wellness programs, we need to understand our target audience, let it be their age or the nature of work that they do. That is very important. And we need to understand the responsibility. So, really, first, we need to understand what is the responsibility of the organization. skip meetings that we conduct. We'll get to know what exactly is required for the employees. See, there'll be an organization where an employee will have to sit in front of the monitor, in front of the computer, sit long hours. So we need to concentrate on sessions like ergonomics or eye checkups, which would help him, and or even sessions on obesity. These are all going to give long-term results if they are going to follow it on a regular basis. And if somebody is working in a manufacturing unit, in a construction site, working on heights, more on safety aspects, training more on safety aspect is going to help them to perform better. And it has to be a continuous process, and we need to have continuous training of all activities, which would help us in avoiding a problem and crisis.
All right, thank you so much. So Gokul, I would also like to understand from you, if very briefly you can, tell us that you are a supporter of the kind of a wellness program which is for everyone, fits for all, or it should be customized as per the individual needs.
All right, all right. I'll be brief in this. From an organization point of view, implementing one size fits all might be a option in terms of budget or in terms of like implementation and all those things. But from the individual point of view, like generally in psychology, like the one basic thumb rule that we write in our experimental psychology papers is like even in scientific research paper is individual differences do exist, like even after say doing a scientifically validated research, after like years of efforts, we'll say that like maybe like 90% of the working women are like having high self-esteem and all those things, like we put out the data like that, and still in our conclusion we will write individual differences do exist. So that is the key point there. So even if e- like that applies in the organizations as well. So no two person are the same, not even all our five fingers are same, no two fingerprints are same, so no two
Correct.
individuals are definitely not same. So like customizing a program on a group session is not feasible. Like say for example, our art therapy session was not customized for each and every person, but we had the option for each and every person to express themselves as themselves. So that was the point. So we made sure that if you want to use color paints, you can use color paints. If you want to use a sketch, you can use a sketch. If you want to use a color pencil, you can use a color pencil. So there were options, but we didn't force them everyone with a blue pen and say that like this is how you will have to express yourself. So that was not the point. So when we are putting out one size fits all from the organization point of view, we have to make sure that we are implementing on a larger scale, and we are implementing like giving the freedom for the employees to like be themselves and express themselves. From the psychology point of view, as I said, like we'll have to customize each and everything for each and every person, because no two person will have the same kind of attitudes
Correct.
towards the same kind of problem they are facing.
Definitely. So thank you so much. Mr. Kanan and Mr. Abhijit, I would request if you can just give the one-liner tip to the organizations who actually looking forward for, employee well-being or want to increase the productivity through employee well-being.
Okay.
Okay, wait, Kanan, you go first.
Abhijit? Okay, fine. Thank you, Abhijit. Okay. Ashna is very clear with one liner. Okay. So I would say like understand the requirement of your target audience, which is important, and then go ahead with it with a holistic long term approach. Don't just do it for the sake of doing it for that particular month. Okay, you have your mental wellness awareness month in May, so you do it in the month of May. Don't do that in that way. I mean, just follow what is required for your organization. Understand your employees. You have various mediums to understand what is required for your employees. So understand the necessity and curate your wellness programs accordingly, and have it communicated. Use all the leverages. I mean, you leverage all the mediums to communicate those, so that it reaches the employees in a better way, for them to understand why is it done and how is it going to affect their performance and well-being. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr.
I
Abhijit, I will
think,
request if
yeah,
you can
just
add
to
something.
add up what Karan has taken the entire words out of my mouth. But what I want to add up is, apart from cost, scalability, and other part, that is engagement, leadership, buy-in, and diverse need that we are looking into. I think the next step that an employer has to take in is also looking into the data privacy of mental health wellness data that is being produced, because still, as in India, we are tabooed up around those particular elements of mental wellness, and we don't want our initiative to be a dual edged sword. Because what happens, the mental wellness is taken in a very different limelight when it comes, like when you identify person a bipolar, hypersensitive, or whatever it is. So there are a
Definitely, yeah.
lot of privacy driven laws that are there, just for our viewers to make it understand that Healthcare Act 2017 is what our government initiative is there, and there are a lot of eight highlights of that particular act which are safeguarding what mental health issues are there within the organization or corporate, and how that can be safeguarded, and what can be the rights of the patients who are going under those particular status. So those are to be respected when mental health
Definitely.
initiatives are to be initiated into our organization. And
Yeah.
also there is a general appeal to our insurance companies to incorporate mental health expenses as a part of the coverage that is there. We do have physical health, and in 2017 Mental Care Act, Healthcare Act, it is already mentioned that it has to be included. It's not been included yet. So as an HR fraternity, we can push those particular benefits, because that would also relax our employees to go and seek other mental wellness opportunity that are there, like Wisdom Seed or Gokul's Maximus, wherein we are there as an expert who can help you any problem. Like bigger net would be having implication of a general good to fit all kind of a program, but when it comes to customization, when it comes to personalization, this is where expert like Gokul and us, Wisdom Seed, where we are creating programs, we are creating therapies, we are creating counseling sessions. That can be a helpful part, and plus it would be covered under certain coverage, because that is a necessity.
Definitely.
Because I think that is a
Yeah.
deficiency that we are going into, and we have to be fortified with that. So that is one thing, and the implication of AI and technology can be going long way, because that is something that we are neglecting into mental health, because that would be unbiased. Definitely, that would be more private, privacy driven data would be there. So, as an HR, as a company, AI generated or AI led, technology led softwares or application can be integral part of your mental wellness policies and approach.
Thank you so much. Google, if you can also add here, one line,
Yeah,
please.
sure. Sure. As a one-liner, I would say like no employee is going to tell you that they are 67% sad today or like 80% happy today like that, and no one expresses happiness or sadness or any emotions like that. So I would suggest leaders and professionals to like as much as looking into the numbers, people, please also look into the emotions of people. And as cliche as it sounds, take care of your employees and they'll take care of your organization.
Sure, definitely. So thank you so much. Thank you so much to our wonderful speakers, Mr. Kanan, Mr. Gokul, and Mr. Abhijit, for sharing your invaluable insights and real-world examples that truly highlights the transformative power of employee wellness program. So we have learned today a lot of things related to wellness. So wellness is not just an initiative, it's a culture, a commitment to our team and a strategy to drive sustainable productivity and happiness. From measuring the impact of wellness program to creating a culture of well-being, today's session has inspired us all to take meaningful step towards enhancing our workplace. So, lastly, a heartfelt thank to all of you, everyone who has joined us today and engaged so actively. Your participation making the sessions like this truly impactful. So, thank you, our speakers. Thank you so much
Thank you,
for
Archana.
joining
Thank you
us
so much.
today.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Archana.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much for
Archana.
Thank you,
this.
Thanks.
Karan. Thank you, Prabhu. Thanks.
And yeah, thank you, Abhijit. Thank you, Gokul.
Thank you, Kanan. Thank you, Abhijit. Thank you, team.
Thanks
Bye.
everyone. And do not forget to share your feedback and connect with V360.ai for more such enlightening discussion. Together, let's create healthier and more productive workplace. Thank you. Have a
Definitely.
wonderful day ahead. So this is Archana
Thank you.
signing off for the day. Bye bye. Take care.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.